Hey friends, welcome to today's Stretch and Strength. Today we are going to be doing mostly stretch, a little bit of strength. Anytime you do body movement, it definitely has a little bit of strength. Today's workout will be pregnancy safe, second trimester for sure. If you need to make adjustments for your body, absolutely feel free to do so. And it just should feel good on your body. Our goal is to loosen some tight muscles and to continue on our day feeling good after this. If you want to join me in a seated position, cross-legged is great if that works for you. Otherwise, one foot in front of the other is also good. Some people also prefer to kneel. Wherever you're at is good. We're going to start by just breathing in and breathing out, deepening our breath, attempting to forget or leave behind today's concerns so far, and starting fresh. When you're ready, we'll bring our head over to one side, stretching through the side of the neck. If it feels good for you, you can close your eyes or soften your gaze. On your next exhale, come back to center. And on an inhale, to the other side. Keeping your back elongated, sits bones into the ground, and your next exhale will come back to center again. Perfect, and now we're gonna look up towards the sky, not crunching through the back of the neck, just stretching through the front of the chest and the front of the neck. And then when you're ready, we're gonna tilt over, tilting so that the chin is not crunched into the neck, but that the forehead is pointed towards the floor. And back to center. Perfect. We'll take our shoulders up to our ears, back to the back of our room, down towards the floor and forward. Nice slow circles, stretching out through the shoulder blades, also through the lower part of the neck as you go low there. And reverse those circles next time you're at the top. Keeping the breath long, in and out. If it feels good, you can breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Beautiful. All right, back to center. Little twist there. Loosen anything you need to. When you're ready, we're going to clasp our hands so our palms are pointed forward. Send those up to the sky and just over to one side, stretching through the side of the body. Again, trying to keep those breaths nice and long. And to the other side. Now release those hands, but keep them up in the air. And we're going to plant them on the ground in front of us, if you're able to do so while keeping your sits bones attached to the ground. Depending on the size of your belly or the size of your body or the flexibility of your movement, you might not be able to do so, and that is totally cool. The goal is to feel a lengthening stretch through your lower back. If you're able to, you can also drop your elbows down to the ground. You can let your head sink where it's comfortable. And now we're going to walk those hands over to one side, staying fairly low, And now to the other side. Really stretching out through those hips. And keeping the breaths nice and deep. Back to center. We're gonna sit back up. And now we're gonna opposite ways crisscross applesauce. You probably have one way that feels much more comfortable than the other. And that's cool, but we'll switch those now. Arms back up to the sky, palms are released, and when you're able to, if it feels good for you, hands down towards the ground while keeping your sits bones attached to the ground as well. If it works, your elbows can come down rested on the ground. You might actually just be here and feeling your stretch, all right? Your back is coming forward straight, not hunched. It's still strong, but wherever you're at, you just want to feel that stretch through your lower back. Again, keeping those breaths nice and deep. Walking over to one side. And now to the other side. Back to center, pushing back up, so you're at a neutral position. And now we're going to take one foot out, stretch it out, bring the other in close, arms up, over like a rainbow, towards those toes. You might reach your shins or your thighs, whatever works for your body today. You want to feel this stretch in your hamstring. You can also have a gentle or a juicy bend in your knee if that's where you're at today. Totally all good. All that matters is that you're here on the mat, stretching it out, making your body happy and relaxed. Back to center, keeping that foot in, other foot out, up like a rainbow, over to the toes or the shin or the thigh. Again, feeling it through the hamstring. You'll have to excuse my froggy voice and my little bit of sniffle I still have from my cold last week. Perfect. Awesome. All right, now we're going to plant those hands and our knees underneath our hips. So our hands, our wrists are under our shoulders, our knees are under our hips, and we're just going to sway side to side, really pushing through the outside of the hip there, feeling the side of the glute really stretch long. Depending on whether you're pregnant or not, you might be noticing that your hips are getting pretty tight, and this can feel lovely. Back to center, back to neutral. We're going to do some cat-cows. So breathing in, dropping that belly, looking forward, bringing the hips up, and then as you breathe out, sending the head down, rounding through the back, pushing away from the mat, and keeping your core tucked up and in. a couple more of these, working with your breath. When you're ready, we'll come back to neutral. We're going to tuck our toes under and just lift our knees off the mat, just a tiny little bit here. All right, so we're in a bear pose here. This increases the intensity of tabletops by like a billion. All right, so you've got your quads engaged, your core engaged, your shoulders engaged. All right, everything's working. If you're gassing out, just add in a little knee tap here, one and then the other. All right, if you feel like you want to go into full plank, you can go into full plank. We're just going to hold this for another 3 breaths. Somebody told me once that my breaths are too long. I guess I should use seconds. You can release when you're ready. Perfect. We're going to put those toes together, knees as wide as your yoga mat, hips back and low, sending through to child's pose, stretching those shoulders forward, but mostly focusing on getting the hips released low and back. You can rest your forehead on the ground if that's comfortable, or pancake hands if that's what works for you. Perfect. All right, we're going to come back into tabletop position. Hands under, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Bring our left foot forward, in between our hands. All right, so your knee is stacked over your ankle, your back hip is stacked over your knee, and we're going to raise those hands up to the sky like they've got a beach ball. All right, you can tuck your back toes under if that feels good for you. You want to have your core engaged here again, so up and in. Bringing your abs towards your spine. Trying to think about having your head over your heart and your heart over your pelvis, so your upper body's in a straight line. And now we're going to open to your front knee. Back up. And open to your back knee. We'll plant those hands back down. When you're ready, switch feet. So your right foot goes back, little side to side sway if your hips need it. Get that right foot forward, plant it in between your hands. So now your knee is stacked in front of your knee is stacked over top of your right foot, and your left knee is below your left hip. And when you're ready, we'll grab that beach ball and send it up to the sky. One thing to note, in this position, if you find you're losing your balance, you can widen your stance. So just walk your front foot out to the side a little further, and that will help you increase your balance. Keeping that head over heart, heart over pelvis. And working on that core muscle, especially while you're pregnant. Anything you can do to help your core muscles is fabulous. We're going to open to our front knee side, stretching those arms long. You can point your pinkies back if that feels good, or have your hands open to the front. And back up. And open to your back knee side. This should feel good on your hips. You should be able to feel it through your hips. All right. It's kind of like a happy hip one, isn't it now? Is a hippopotamus or just a really hip opotamus? Yeah? Anyways, all right. Plant those hands back down, back to tabletop. All right, send those hips side to side, side to side. We're gonna tuck those toes under and come into downward dog. Stretching one heel towards the ground and then the other. Keeping those breaths nice and long. We'll send our left foot up to the sky. Do some little twirls here. All right. When you're ready, scoop it under, over and across. Coming into pigeon pose. You can stay up like this if that's where you're comfortable, or you can come down onto your elbows, or furthermore onto your forehead if that's what works. In any of these positions, you want to feel the stretch, but you don't want to feel pain. So if you go through step 1 and you don't feel much, and step 2 feels good, and you get to step 3 and it's like, oh, that's a little much, maybe just back it up to step 2. Nothing wrong with that, is there? All right, we're gonna come back up. So plant those hands, tuck your back toe under, swing your front foot back to be in downward dog yet again. Bringing one heel towards the ground and then the other. We're gonna swing the right foot up to the sky, adding the fancy little twirls in. And when you're ready, scoop it under, over and across. Again, you can stay in high pigeon. That's what feels good for you. And remember, each side will be different. So if one side felt really good with the pancake hands, but the second side doesn't, that's totally cool. And when you're ready, you can push back up. Rather than coming into downward dog, we're just going to come into a seated position. So you can just roll on over, bring the soles of your feet together, bring your knees towards the ground as far as they go, and stretch through that back, pushing up through the chest, proud chest. All right, feeling this one in your inner thighs. This is our last stretch for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's mostly stretch, like 98% stretch. All right, felt good for the body, hopefully for the soul as well. Please drop me a line, let me know what you think, and I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day.